everybody. It ain't for 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 everybody. Yeah, many you call, but few get chosen. Matthew 22:14. My righteousness gonna exceed that of the Pharisees.
If you're looking for high quality clothing at affordable costs, check out peculiarapparel.com. My name is Dawad.
And I'm Shayar, and we are the owners of Peculiar Apparel. All of our products are made with 100% natural fabrics, no mixed materials.
We have t-shirts for the man, woman, and child. These can be purchased with or without fringes.
Our women's line of t-shirts currently do not include fringes, but if that's something you desire, send us a DM at peculiarapparel_ on Instagram, or send us an email at help@peculiarapparel.com.
So once again, that is peculiarapparel.com.
Peculiar Apparel for peculiar people.
Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom, family.
Shalom.
So first, we just want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, and we do so by Shem Yahweh Shai. And the title for today is How Does Practicing Divination Show Rebellion and Lack of Faith? But before we get into the lesson, I want to actually touch on what is the purpose of the Feast of Simon Maccabees, because most people are not familiar with this feast, because it's not actually a high holy day, but it's a day that was commanded by Simon to be kept each year, and there was a reason for it, and we're gonna get into that first. Ak, you got anything you want to say?
No, nothing too much. Shalom family. I hope everybody is well. Just make sure to like the video, also comment, share, and utilize the @highlight feature so that more people can see the live stream while it's happening, and maybe even after the live stream is over, they can see it in passing. But I'll pass it back to you.
The water. So yeah, if you are tuned in, if you could go ahead and give us a like and a share on the video, and also you can use the @highlight feature to reach out to more people on the friends list. Yeah, you can go ahead and get your screen share, and I'm gonna read First Maccabees chapter 13.
Con. Screen large enough?
Yeah, it's huge. It's perfect.
Oh, praise.
So I'll go ahead and read, and if y'all want to turn here also, you can. It's First Maccabees chapter 13. Starting at verse 1, it says, Now when Simon heard that Tryphon had gathered together a great host to invade the land of Judea and destroy it, and saw that the people was in great trembling and fear, he went up to Jerusalem and gathered the people together and gave them exhortation, saying, Ye yourselves know what great things I and my brethren and my father's house have done for the laws and the sanctuary, the battles also and troubles which we have seen. By reason whereof all my brethren are slain for Israel's sake, and I am left alone. Now therefore be it far from me that I should spare mine own life in any time of trouble, for I am no better than my brethren. Doubtless I will avenge my nation and the sanctuary, and our wives and our children. For all the heathen are gathered to destroy us of very malice. Now as soon as the people heard these words, their spirit revived. And they answered with a loud voice, saying, Thou shalt be our leader instead of Judas and Jonathan thy brother. Fight thou our battles, and whatsoever thou commandest us, that will we do. So then he gathered together all the men of war, and made haste to finish the walls of Jerusalem, and he fortified it round about. Also he sent Jonathan, the son of Absalom, and with him a great power to Joppa, who casting out them that were therein remained there in it. So Tryphon removed from Ptolemais with a great power to invade the land of Judea, and Jonathan was with him inward. But Simon pitched his tents at Adida, over against the plain. Now when Tryphon knew that Simon was risen up instead of his brother Jonathan, and meant to join battle with him, he sent messengers unto him, saying, Whereas we have Jonathan thy brother in hold, it is for money that he is owing unto the king's treasure, concerning the business that was committed unto him. Wherefore, now send 100 talents of silver, and 2 of his sons for hostages, that when he is at liberty he may not revolt from us, and we will let him go. Hereupon Simon, albeit he perceived that they spake deceitfully unto him, yet sent he the money and the children, lest peradventure he should procure to himself great hatred of the people, who might have said, Because I sent him not the money and the children, therefore is Jonathan dead. So he sent them the children and the 100 talents. Howbeit, Tryphon dissembled, neither would he let Jonathan go. And after this came Tryphon to invade the land and destroy it, going round about the way that leadeth unto Adora. But Simon and his hosts marched against him in every place, wheresoever he went. Now they that were in the tower sent messengers unto Tryphon, to the end that he should hasten his coming unto them by the wilderness, and send them victuals. Wherefore Tryphon made ready all his horsemen to come that night. But there fell a very great snow, by reason whereof he came not. So he departed and came into the country of Galaad. And when he came near to Bascama, he slew Jonathan, who was buried there. Afterward, Tryphon returned and went into his own land. Then sent Simon and took the bones of Jonathan his brother and buried them in Modin, the city of his fathers. And all Israel made great lamentation for him and bewailed him many days. Simon also built a monument upon the sepulchre of his father and his brethren, and raised it aloft to the site, with hewn stone behind and before. Moreover, he set up 7 pyramids, one against another, for his father and his mother and his 4 brethren. And in these he made cunning devices, about the which he set great pillars. And upon the pillars he made all their armor for perpetual memory, and by the armor ships carved, that they might be seen of all that sail on the sea. This is the sepulchre which he made at Modin, and it standeth yet unto this day. Now Tryphon dealt deceitfully with the young king Antiochus, and slew him. And he reigned in his stead, and crowned himself king of Asia, and brought a great calamity upon the land. Then Simon built up the strongholds in Judea, and fenced them about with high towers and great walls, and gates and bars, and laid up victuals therein. Moreover, Simon chose men, and sent to King Demetrius, to the end he should give the land immunity, because all that Tryphon did was to spoil. Unto whom King Demetrius answered and wrote after this manner: King Demetrius unto Simon the high priest and friend of kings, as also unto the elders and nations of the Jews, sendeth greeting. The golden crown and the scarlet robe, which ye sent unto us, we have received, and we are ready to make a steadfast peace with you, yea, and to write unto our officers to confirm the immunities which we have granted. And whatsoever covenants we have made with you shall stand, and the strongholds which ye have builded shall be your own. As for any oversight or fault committed unto this day, we forgive it, and the crown tax also, which ye owe us. And if there were any other tribute paid in Jerusalem, it shall no more be paid. And look who are meet among you to be in our court. Let them be enrolled, and let there be peace betwixt us. Thus the yoke of the heathen was taken away from Israel in the 170th year. Then the people of Israel began to write in their instruments and contracts, in the first year of Simon the high priest, the governor and leader of the Jews. In those days, Simon camped against Gaza and besieged it round about. He made also an engine of war and set it by the city, and battered a certain tower and took it. And they that were in the engine leaped into the city, whereupon there was a great uproar in the city, insomuch as the people of the city rent their clothes and climbed upon the walls with their wives and children, and cried with a loud voice, beseeching Simon to grant them peace. And they said, Deal not with us according to our wickedness, but according to thy mercy. So Simon was appeased toward them, and fought no more against them, but put them out of the city, and cleansed the houses wherein the idols were, and so enter into it with songs and thanksgiving. Yea, he put all uncleanliness out of it, and placed such men there as would keep the law, and made it stronger than it was before, and built therein a dwelling place for himself. They also of the tower in Jerusalem were kept so straight that they could neither come forth, nor go into the country, nor buy, nor sell. Wherefore they were in great distress for want of victuals, and a great number of them perished through famine. Then cried they to Simon, beseeching him to be at one with them, which thing he granted them. And when he had put them out from thence, he cleansed the tower from pollutions, and entered into it the 23rd day of the 2nd month in the 171st year, with thanksgiving and branches of palm trees, and with harps and cymbals, and with viols and hymns and songs, because there was destroyed a great enemy out of Israel. He ordained also that that day should be kept every year with gladness. Moreover, the hill of the temple that was by the tower he made stronger than it was, and there he dwelt himself with his company. And when Simon saw that John his son was a valiant man, he made him captain of all the hosts, and he dwelt in Gezerah. And that's the end of the chapter. So what I want to do, I'm gonna go over a couple of key points that I found in this chapter. And when I finish up, there may be something you want to touch on also, because I know it's a lot of information in here, and some good information and some good points to harp on that we can use to benefit us today. So the first thing I want to look at is verse 2. And I'll give you a second to scroll back up just in case someone's reading from the screen and not from the text. And so verse 2 says, and saw that the people were in great trembling and fear. He went up to Jerusalem and gathered the people together. So we see right here at the beginning that these men, these Israelite brothers, sisters, just our people, they had fear. They lacked faith at that time. But what actually happens is their faith gets restored. Now I'm going to read from chapter 12, verse 53. We didn't actually read this, but I want to read this because it's important in the context of chapter 13. So this is First Maccabees chapter 12, verse 53. It says, then all the heathen that were round about then sought to destroy them, for said they have no captain, nor any to help them. Now therefore, let us make war upon them, and take away their memorial from among men. So this was part of the reason why they had great fear. They knew they didn't have anyone leading them correctly that would help them to be able to defend themselves against their enemies. So not having a captain, not having any organization, any kind of structure caused them to be afraid and not to have faith. So when you look at it, it says, they therefore let us make war upon them and take away their memorial from among men. They knew that they were at a weak point, and so it was easier for them to tear down the infrastructure without a captain. So as we go and continue to read in verses 6 and 7 of chapter 13, and you can get back there, So verse 6 and 7 says, doubtless I will avenge my nation and the sanctuary and our wives and our children, for all the heathen are gathered to destroy us of very malice. Now, as soon as the people heard these words, their spirit revived. So they were able to be revived just knowing that Simon was about to stand up and he wasn't going to allow them to infiltrate their nation of people and destroy them. So this revived the people. So I look at this in the sense of how all of our people haven't come into the knowledge that we've come into, the wisdom we've come into. But we can revive their spirit by giving them the good news, giving them confidence that the Most High God hasn't left us. He hasn't forsaken us, regardless of what it looks like. And that's how I apply this to us being revived and being refreshed in these troublesome times we're living in. I'm going to read verse 7 and 8. Well, Salakia 8 and 9. It says, and they answered with a loud voice, saying, thou shalt be our leader instead of Judas and Jonathan thy brother. Fight thou our battles, and whatsoever thou commandest us, that we will do. So they were confident and they had their faith increased, knowing that they had someone that could lead them, that they could trust. And this allowed them to actually have more faith in the Most High God because they knew that he was with Simon. So that's just something we can take from this story about the Feast of Simon. So, brother, drop down to verse 33. And so verse 33 says, then Simon built up the strongholds in Judea and fenced them about with high towers and great walls and gates and bars and laid up victuals therein. So when Simon came into this position of leadership, he knew that he had to prepare them. He had to prepare everything around them to be able to deal with whatever would come, if it was to come, from their enemies. So we see that he builds up these strongholds. He builds these high towers so they can't be easily penetrated. And we can also use that in our walk to know that we got to prepare ourselves. It's going to be some stuff that's going to come that if we're not actually seeking out the Most High for wisdom on the matter, we ain't going to be prepared. And the enemy going to be able to defeat us also. Now I'm going to jump down to verse 43 through 48. And in verse 43, it says, in those days, Simon camped against Gaza and besieged it round about. He made also an engine of war and set it by the city and battered a certain tower and took it. When I was reading this, I had the picture in my head of what he actually built, because it said he built an engine of war. And this engine of war was able to take out a tower. So this had to be something that would be like a catapult, where you could swing boulders at it, or it had to be something that was, it had a lot of force to it. It wasn't just a small engine of war. And it says, and they that were in the engine leaped into the city, whereupon there was a great uproar in the city, insomuch as the people of the city rent their clothes and climbed upon the walls with their wives and children, and cried with a loud voice, beseeching Simon to grant them peace. And they said, deal not with us according to our wickedness, but according to thy mercy. So Simon was appeased toward them and fought no more against them, but put them out of the city and cleansed the houses wherein the idols were, and so entered it into it with songs and thanksgiving. Yea, he put all uncleanliness out of it, and placed such men there as would keep the law, and made it stronger than it was before, and built therein a dwelling place for himself. So we see right here an example of these men that kept the law help make this thing stronger. And that's the same way with us. We keep the law, we're made stronger spiritually, because now we understand why we're keeping the law, because it's making us stronger. We're dealing with these different situations, and we're able to come across them, and we're able to stand strong because we've been built up in the Most High God's commandments. So the whole point of the Feast of Simon was to basically celebrate our victory over the enemy. And that enemy at the time were the Idumeans, the Greeks. And this is something that we can relate to today, because Just like we know Pharaoh had our ancestors in slavery in Egypt. We're still in captivity right here in America. But one day the Most High God gonna send his son to redeem us out of this captivity. And that's definitely gonna be a day of rejoicing. So to remember how our forefathers and foremothers were able to be redeemed from their enemies just shows, you know, an example of what he can do. And it gives us a way to strengthen our faith by seeing and being able to witness it and celebrate that day that he was able to allow them to overcome their enemies. And Ak, if you got anything you want to add that, you know, stuck out to you in this chapter, you can.
God. Yeah, absolutely. That was that was a beautiful explanation. And just something that that pops out and that always pops out as like a constant theme, you know, like when we receive some type of relief or salvation from our enemies. What verse was that? I think when he declared the feast. 51 right here. So this is First Maccabees 13 and 51. It says, and entered. Well, I'll start at 50. It says, then cried they to Simon, beseeching him to be at one with them, which thing he granted them. And when he had put them out from thence, he cleansed the tower from pollutions, and entered into it the 23 day of the second month, in the 170 and first year, with thanksgiving, branches of palm trees, and with harps, and cymbals, with viols, and hymns, and songs. And then watch this part. Because there was destroyed a great enemy out of Israel. And we see a similar theme in Exodus, the 15th chapter, because when we got saved from the Egyptians, what happened right after was a rejoicing with music. But and I hate to make it about this, but like a lot of times when you hear about you know, people quote unquote praising God and stuff like that and worshiping God, they don't you don't really hear them celebrating the destruction of an enemy, you know, of God's people, you know, unless it's like they spiritualize it, like, yeah, the devil thought he had, you know, stuff like that. But talking about a physical enemy that we had to deal with, you know, that's not something common that we see today, but in the scriptures, it's all throughout. You know, we would thank the Most High, like it would be a celebration because the Most High took out our enemy, like our physical enemy that was trying to kill us. You know, so that's just you know, I thought that was beautiful, just to observe while I was reading through this, because, you know, these are things that we celebrated, you know, and people, they oftentimes they kind of shame us, you know, for looking, you know, for taking joy in the scriptures that speak about the destruction of our enemies and us being liberated from, you know, captivities and places of exile. But our people, we were known for celebrating that very salvation, you know, those very instances of us being delivered from our physical oppressors. But no, but that's all I wanted to touch on.
Khan, the Water King, beautiful point. And I ain't gonna, you know, I don't want to spend too much in First Maccabees because we got a whole lesson to get into. Sister Eden Love, I see your comment. You said we can already get out of captivity. We don't have to be in their jurisdiction if we know their laws and go through the proper steps to get out. I know somebody's familiar with the lesson I did about our people who actually went over to the Holy Land already. They went too early, and they going through hell because they're not supposed to be there yet. We can't leave. I mean, we could leave this place if we want to, but that's not going to get us out of captivity, because we know that our enemies run the world. We don't run the world. So you can get out of captivity mentally, most definitely. You know, we should already be out of captivity mentally if we've come into this truth. But as far as like getting out of captivity in the aspect of getting our salvation, you know, we don't have to, we're never going to be able to get salvation to the Most High send his son back. And right, that's what I'm saying, sis. We don't have to leave this place to be free. That's mentally. But we're still in bondage regardless. We're here against our will. We want to go back home. But until the Most High sends his son back to usher us into the land, it won't be the same when we go over there. Our people, I mean, they going through it. They getting banished out of the land because they practicing Israelites also. And they went over there saying that was what we were supposed to do. And those Jewish people kicking their butt out of the land and telling them they don't belong there. And they being more racist to them over there than they being to us over here. But yeah. But I guess we'll go ahead and get into the real meat of the night, the lesson.
Okay.
About
divination. Can I make a point on it?
Khan, go ahead, Doc.
Khan, and Salaki, just to speak on that. When you look at the word for captivity, a lot of times that's placed in the scriptures, like even Deuteronomy and, you know, different places throughout the law that prophesied that we would be in captivity. It's this word that's used right here. It's Shevi, right? 76:28. And definition captive was something interesting, right? When you look at an exhaustive concordance, it speaks to captivity prisoners taken away. That was taken, and then look here, it says exiled. This is very important because when you look at what exile is, or being exiled, it's just like how the brother mentioned, is us being banished. So brothers and sisters trying to go over there, and as a brother, I think he did this lesson maybe back in maybe January. My timeline might be messed up, but he did a lesson on it concerning our people that are over there right now being deported. You know, and this life is not easy over there for them, even though they know who they are. You know, they keep Torah and stuff like that. It's not time for them to be over in that land because, you know, we're banished right now until the Messiah, you know, and the Most High deems it fit to place us back into that land. And that's, you know, what's going to fulfill prophecy ultimately. But at least on a physical side, we are in captivity or exiled from our land. You know, like we can't go back. Even if you wanted to, you couldn't go back there and just live. And so, you know what, I'm gonna just like, nah, that can't happen right now. But
yeah, it won't be peaceful regardless.
Right.
Like you could go, you got the free will to do it if you got the money, but it ain't gonna go well for you because they still in rulership. But yeah, we can go ahead and get into this lesson. So let's go with Deuteronomy 18 verses 9 through 12.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18, starting at verse 9. It says, "When thou art come into the land which the Most High giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you any one that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter of familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Most High. And because of these abominations, Yahweh doth drive them out from before thee."
So it says, "When thou art coming to the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations." So when we look at something that we have to learn, that's something that's not natural. We don't just know it. We're learning this, and he was commanding us, don't learn that stuff. You're going to see them doing something different than what you know. Don't do it. It says, "There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch. Brother, grab maketh to pass in Hebrew.
God. That was verse 10, right?
Con.
The to pass part, or
I guess grab the make it first and then grab to pass.
Con. So maketh is 5674 avar, which,
and it actually got on mine on the app. It says that maketh to pass it as one word, and it's avar.
Okay. You want the biblical usage, right?
Con.
So biblical usage is to pass over, or by, or through, alienate, bring, carry, do away, take away, transgress, to pass over, cross over, pass over, march over, overflow, go over, and then more of the same, pass beyond, pass through. And then jumping down to pass on, go on, pass on before, go in advance of, pass along, travel, advance. And then we see to immigrate, leave one's territory, vanish, perish, cease to exist, to become invalid.
You can stop right there with the cease to exist. So the reason I'm pointing this out, y'all, it says that there should not be found anyone among you, anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire. So this is talking about children, parents making their children pass through the fire. At this time, people used to sacrifice their children to Moloch. And when you look at this from the modern standpoint, the last word that the brother said was cease to exist. And this is in the 6th entry under this outline of biblical usage in letter A. And it says cease to exist. And then also when you look back up at the top, it says also to do away or take away or take. So when you look at abortion, this is literally making children pass through the fire. This is something that started with the other nations. We never aborted children because we knew that inside the womb, life started. That child was alive. So if you kill this child, you abort this child, you're actually guilty of murder. So he was telling them, don't do this. Don't do this. The other nations are doing it. Don't go and do it. So they were also, they were already physically sacrificing their children to Molech. But if you're doing anything like this, let's just say you're raising your child and you just let your child just get raised up anyway. You don't train a child the way that he should go. And he starts to get into idolatry. You have then made your children pass through the fire. And a lot of us probably are guilty of it because we didn't know the truth at that time. But when you know better, you do better. But I'm going to continue reading and looking at verse 10 again. So it says that useth divination or an observer or times or an enchanter or a witch. Everybody in the chat, if you could give me an example of what an observer of times is to the best of your knowledge. What would you say an observer of times is in this day and age? Let me see if somebody got just a good explanation or opinion about it. What an observer of time would be. So, nope, not birthdays. So, yep, astrology. So when you're dealing with fortune telling, horoscopes, tarot readings, all this stuff is they're observing time. They're trying to tell you the future, or they're trying to tell you something about your life. They're trying to foretell tell something. This is an observer of times. So all this stuff started in the heathen nations, and then later on, our people started picking this stuff up. So this is right, Zodiac, all that is something that started with the other nations. This was never something we indulged in. But our people are under the guise that this is something that we always did, but people started to demonize it to make us not be able to do it. I want you to play this video. And so this also falls under consulting with familiar spirits too, y'all. Like trying to talk to the dead and stuff like that. But yeah, play this video. Y'all finna be like, what the? Some of y'all probably saw it. Some of y'all probably haven't.
Kinda, and can you let me know, like I'm gonna play it. Can you let me know if you can't hear it?
And it's a sister, y'all. Yeah, I can hear it out.
We are learning more tonight about the mother police say murdered her boyfriend in Woodland Hills before pushing her baby and 9-year-old daughter into traffic on the 405 freeway. Thanks for joining us. I'm Carolyn Johnson.
I'm Kathy Vara. We are learning more about the online personality of Danielle Johnson and how she was known by her more than 100,000 followers. Investigative reporter Eric Leonard joins us now live from our newsroom with details. Eric.
Hi, Kathy and Carolyn. Well, we've confirmed that the mother, whose name was Danielle Johnson, was also known online as Danielle Oyaka. Through her website and social media, she sold astrology sessions and products online, and she made several posts before the deaths warning about the solar eclipse. A law enforcement source says they are confident these social media posts show Danielle Johnson, who describes herself as an astrologer and a recording artist. Some of her posts on X, formerly Twitter, made proclamations about things that would happen to people who were born under various astrological signs. One post last week warned people not to look at Monday's solar eclipse, which happened hours after the killings and deaths in this case. Many other posts were anti-Semitic. Others spread false or unproven theories about COVID-19. The LAPD says detectives believe Johnson stabbed to death her 29-year-old live-in boyfriend, Jalen Cheney, inside the apartment the couple shared in Woodland Hills that happened early Monday morning. Then police say she pushed her 9-year-old daughter into traffic while driving on the 405 freeway in Culver City before dawn, while that girl was holding Johnson's 8-month-old daughter. The infant was hit by cars and killed. The 9-year-old was able to get over to the shoulder. She survived. Now, less than an hour later, police in Redondo Beach say Johnson was killed when her Porsche SUV struck several trees while traveling at more than 100 miles per hour. Now, detectives who've worked this case caution that even though they're eager to find some kind of an explanation for all of this violence, there is a chance it will never be understood. They say while Johnson's astrology-related posts and these eclipse references could reveal something about her mindset, without being able to interview her, there's just no way to know. Lastly, the 9-year-old girl who survived this ordeal is with the LA County Department of Children and Family Services. She has relatives here in California and out of state, and child welfare workers are looking to find the proper placement for her. Live in the newsroom, I'm investigative reporter Eric Leonard, NBC4 News. Back to you.
All right.
She tripped all the way out, y'all. From practicing divination. Them spirits got on them. Just like the sister Sierra said in the comments. She said, yeah, I heard about this. That's how demonic spirits get people, by practicing this kind. Because what people can't understand is like something like as simple as horoscopes. Because I used to look into that mess too when I was younger. And you'd be like, man, it's on point. Is that show how my day went? Or yeah, I'm so pissed off about the person I'm in a relationship with, and they said something about that in my horoscope, or they kind of predicted it was going to happen like that. What they fail to understand is that the demons and the devil has, power too, just like the Most High has power. It's not the same as his power, but they have some measure of power. So they're able to do things by studying you. They study us. The demons, the devil study us. That's why we get tempted the way that we do, because we have weaknesses and they study them to use things against us. So just in the same way with this divination, these people that are consulting with these familiar spirits, they do have some type of connection, but they're not connected to what they think they're connected to. The source they're connected to is completely different, and it's demonic. And I seen Star, She said, I learned about yoga too being demonic. I seen a lot of people talking about this on social media, and they were like getting mad and saying, oh, it's not demonic and this and that. What they don't understand is not the just the practice of the way that you're contorting your body. It's the origin of where it started that makes it pagan. It's actually pagan. It's a pagan thing. This is nothing that we did. You know, it's nothing wrong with stretching. But when you start to do yoga in the way that it was formulated, the way the origin is, and you practice it in that manner, yeah, it becomes demonic because it's pagan. Anything that's connected to paganism is definitely demonic. And Khan is the spiritual worship to Hindu gods. But we're gonna continue getting into this lesson because, you know, I brought the point out about the observer of times, and we're gonna get into some scriptures that's going to kind of show us a little more clarity to these things being demonic and definitely being something the Most High God is not pleased with if we involve ourselves in them. Brother, first bring that post on the screen, because this is from that sister that did that. They actually they put that post in that video, but it was a part of that that's not in that video that's on this actual post.
Okay.
And this is like the last post she made before she went and lost her mind. So there it is. Wake up, wake up. The apocalypse is here. Everyone who has ears, listen. Your time to choose what you believe is now. If you believe a new world is possible for the people right now, there is power in choice. There is power in choice. Repost to make the choice for the collective. And scroll down. So readers added context. The solar eclipse of 2024 did not bring an apocalypse. Daniel Johnson, known as Ayoka, suffered an unfortunate mental break that led to a murder-suicide of herself, her partner, and their 8-month-old child as a result of her conspiracy theory. And I think that's it on that. But it's just crazy, though, that, you know, these spirits can have so much power and influence over your brain to do something like this. But brother, grab 1 Samuel 28. And we'll start with verses 1 through 6. Crazy thing is so many of our people that's into it, more than the other people.
God, exactly. What was the verse? 28 and what?
1 through 6.
God. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 28, starting at verse 1. And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare to fight with Israel. And Achish said unto David, Know thou assuredly that thou shalt go out with me to battle, thou and thy men. And David said to Achish, Surely thou shalt know what thy servant can do. And Achish said to David, Therefore will I make thee keeper of mine head forever? So like there's no question mark there. So like in verse 3, it says, Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him, and buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits, and the wizards out of the land. And the Philistines gathered themselves together, and came and pitched in Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa. Verse 5. When Saul saw the host of Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled. And when Saul inquired of the Most High, Yahweh answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets.
So looking at verse 3, it says, Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him, and buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. So these people that had connections with these familiar spirits, Saul actually put them out of the land. And we're going to read more about this later on, and that's why I'm highlighting it right now. Just remember that he put these that had those familiar spirits and those wizards, people practicing witchcraft, he put them out of the land. And jump down back to verse 6. It says, and when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. There's a reason that Saul was not answered by the Most High God. Brother, give me 1 Samuel 15, 1 through 11.
God. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, starting at verse 1. Samuel also said unto Saul, the Most High sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of Yahweh. Thus saith the Most High of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way, when he came out, so like it came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. And Saul gathered the people together, and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen, and 10,000 men of Jerusalem, or Slack Judah. Verse 5. And Saul came to a city in Amalek, and laid wait in the valley. And Saul said unto the Kenites, go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For ye showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag, in the best of the sheep, in the oxen, and of the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refuse, that they destroyed utterly. Then came the word of Yahweh unto Samuel, saying, it repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he is turned back from following me, and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto Yahweh all night.
Con. So we see right here, he was very disobedient because he didn't do what the Most High God told him to do. Verse 3 says, now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. He wanted him to kill everything. Verse 8, it says, and he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. So he did right by destroying all the people with the sword, but he was supposed to kill Agag also. It says, but Saul and the people spared Agag, and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them. He was supposed to destroy all of that. But everything that was vile and refused, that they destroyed utterly. So the Most High God actually ends up regretting making Saul king because he was disobedient. Brother, read verse 22 and 23.
God. This is 1 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 22. And Samuel said, hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahweh? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of Yahweh, he hath also rejected thee from being king.
And he's talking to Saul. So this explains why in 1 Samuel 28, when he tried to speak to the Most High God, he was ignored, and he didn't hear him, and he didn't give him any dreams to contact him, to let him know, hey, I'm with you, because he wasn't with him, because he was disobedient. So we'll go back to 1 Samuel 28. We read verses 1 through 6. We'll read verses 7 through 12.
God. 1 Samuel 28, 7 through 12.
Time.
This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 28, starting at verse 7. Then said Saul unto his servants, Seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servants said to him, Behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment, and he went, and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night. And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee. And the woman said unto him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits, and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore, then layest thou a snare for my life to cause me to die? And Saul sware to her by Yahweh, saying, As Yahweh liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Then said the woman, Whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, Bring me up Samuel. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake to Saul, saying, Why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul.
She realized who he was. She was like, hold on, ain't you the same one that told us to get out the land? Now you coming to us for help. So looking at verse 7, it says, Then Saul said unto his servant, Seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, Behold, there is a woman that have a familiar spirit at Endor. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment, and he went, and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night, and he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee. So he went in a disguise because, for one, he was ashamed of what he was doing. And for 2, they were going to notice who he was, and he already was popular for what he did. He banished them out of the land. So the reasoning that he's actually going to this familiar spirit is because he can't contact the Most High God. The Most High God is not answering his prayers. So now he feels as if he needs to lean on a familiar spirit. It's similar to how our people are today. When they start to feel like God done left them or something, they lean on other different outlets. They go to different outlets to try and get answers instead of leaning on the Most High God, studying his word, obeying his commandments so that he can listen to us. But it says, and Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment, and he went, and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night, and he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee. And the woman said unto him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life to cause me to die? And Saul sware to her by the Lord, saying, As the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing, because you're Saul. That's why it ain't gonna happen. But we're gonna continue reading, unless you want to make a point on anything.
No point.
Come, let's get 13 through 19.
Come. This is 1 Samuel chapter 28, starting at verse 13. And the king said unto her, Be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. And he said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, Why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me, and answereth me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do, or what I shall do, Salakia. Verse 16. Then said Samuel, Wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing Yahweh is departed from thee, and is become thine enemy? and the Most High hath done to him as he spake by me. For Yahweh hath rent the kingdom out of thine hand, and given it to thy neighbor, even to David. Because thou obeyest not the voice of the Most High, nor executest his fierce wrath upon Amalek, therefore hath Yahweh done this thing unto thee this day. Moreover, Yahweh will also deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines, and tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. Yahweh also shall deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines.
God. So he went to get some information about what was going to happen, basically fortune telling. And this was something that was a direct commandment that the Most High God told him not to do after he already disobeyed him in his commandments as far as how to go into this nation and killed all these people in battle. But I'm going to read verse 16. It says, Then said Samuel, Wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing the Lord is departed from thee and is become thine enemy? And so Samuel is talking to Saul like, hey, why are you even trying to contact me, knowing that the Most High God ain't even dealing with you right now? Brother, give me John chapter 9, verse 31.
This is the book of John, chapter 9, and verse 31. Now we know that God heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshipper of God, and doeth his will, him he heareth.
Con. So at the point in the moment where we start to be disobedient to the Most High God, just like verse 16 in 1 Samuel 28 says, seeing the Lord is departed from thee and is become thine enemy, because he's not for us at that point in time, because he's not hearing us. He's not on our side because we become disobedient. And this is what had happened to Saul. Give me James 4 and 4.
God. It's the book of James, chapter 4, and verse 4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God.
Con. So this is what was being spoke to Saul by Samuel. Like, hey, you trying to inquire something of me, and the Most High God has left you, and you've become his enemy. Brother, give me Daniel 2, verses 19 through 30.
What verse?
30.
God. It's the book of Daniel, chapter 2, starting at verse 19. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings, and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou God of my fathers, who hast given me wisdom and might, and hast made known unto me now what we desired of thee. For thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter. Therefore Daniel went unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, Destroy not the wise men of Babylon. Bring me in before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the captives of Judah that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, Art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king, and said, The secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets, and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart.
So the king had to go and actually find someone besides these fortune tellers, these wizards, or whatever you want to call them, magicians. He had to go and find Daniel. So the thing is, like I stated earlier, that even people that have powers, you know, that are used, they're being used by demonic spirits. They have some type of power. It's not the same as the Most High God's power. And this is why they couldn't tell the king the dream. They couldn't tell the king the dream or interpret it because they didn't know it. But Daniel was able to. And there was a reason for that. Brother, give me Daniel 1:1-4.
Okay. It's the book of Daniel, chapter 1, starting at verse 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and of the king's seed, and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all wisdom, cunning in knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, in whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans.
So he went to the children of Israel, those that were favored by the Most High. Verse 4 says, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. He wanted those that had the spirit of the Most High God on. And he knew that was the only way he was going to be able to figure out this dream and what it meant. Brother, read verses 17-20.
Jumping down to verse 17. It says, As for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Now at the end of the days that the king had said he should bring them in, then the prince of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. And the king communed with them, and among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king. And in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in all his realm.
So they were 10 times better. This just shows us that, period, it ain't no way that no other wisdom or knowledge on this planet Earth is greater than the wisdom of the Most High God. No power is greater than the power of the Most High God. There is power in this divination stuff. There is power in this tarot card reading, all these different things. It's witchcraft. They're dabbling with spirits, but it's not greater than the power of the Most High God. Brother, give me Colossians 2, verses 8 through 10.
Come. This is the book of Colossians, chapter 2, starting at verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Mashiach. For in him dwelleth all the fullness of the Godhead bodily, and ye are complete in him, which is the head of all principality and power.
Con. So it says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. For in him dwelleth all the fullness of the Godhead bodily, and ye are complete in him, which is the head of all principality and power. So we know that we are complete with just the Most High God and the wisdom that he gives us. But a lot of our people don't. And so what we do is we go after the knowledge that is presented to us in Babylon. And we start to go after these things, and we get spoiled through this vain deceit. So it says, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, not after Christ. We know the main reason our people are in paganism, they practice paganism, is because of tradition. And it's just here. It's something that's, I had a conversation with a guy. I know he used to be a DJ. I'm going to say his name or nothing like that. We talking about some things, and he's kind of waking up. And he's starting to see things for what they are. And I was telling him, like, brother, you know why people don't want to change, and, why people don't want to accept the truth? The truth is uncomfortable, because the truth causes you to have to change. It causes you to have to look at yourself and say, there's something wrong with what I'm doing. And people don't want to say that. People don't want to be uncomfortable. We like to be comfortable. The way we've been doing something, we want to keep doing that. Don't come over here and interrupt the way I do what I do. And that's the attitude of most of our people. And we have to get out of that, because we have to understand that we've been spoiled through this vain deceit. We've been lied to. And, the way that we've been taught is not the correct way to do things. Brother, give me Acts 8, verses 5 through 13.
Gone.
Con. They just want to do what they feel. Con.
Said Acts 8, 5 through 15.
13.
5 through 13. Con. This is the book of Acts, chapter 8, starting at verse 5. Then Philip went down to the city of Samaria and preached the Messiah unto them. And the people with one accord gave heed unto those things which Philip spake, hearing and seeing the miracles which he did. For unclean spirits, crying with loud voice, came out of many that were possessed with them, and many taken with palsies, and that were lame were healed. And there was great joy in that city. But there was a certain man called Simon, which before time in the same city used sorcery, and bewitched the people of Samaria, giving out that himself was some great one, to whom they all gave heed, from the least to the greatest, saying, this man is the great power of God. And to him they had regard, because that of long time he had bewitched them with sorceries. But when they believed Philip, preaching the things concerning the kingdom of the Most High, in the name of Yahushua the Anointed, they were baptized, both men and women. Then Simon himself believed also, and when he was baptized, he continued with Philip, and wondered, beholding the miracles and signs which were done.
Con. So it says, Philip went down to the city of Samaria, preached Christ unto them, and the people with one accord gave heed unto those things which Philip spake, hearing and seeing the miracles which he did. For unclean spirits, crying with loud voice, came out of many that were possessed with them, and many taken with palsies, and that were lame were healed. there was great joy in the city. But there was a certain man called Simon, which before time in the same city used sorcery and bewitched the people of Samaria, giving out that himself was some great one, to whom they all gave heed from the least to the greatest, saying, this man is the great power of God. So they were looking at this man as if he had the power of God because he was able to practice witchcraft and deceive people. And this is what goes on today with this witchcraft. People start to really believe that, yeah, it's just some untapped power. We're supposed to be doing this and this and that. But it is not true. It's just deception. It says, and to him they had regard because that of long time he had bewitched them with sorceries. But when they believed Philip preaching the things concerning the kingdom of God in the name of Jesus Christ, or Hamashiach Yahushua, they were baptized, both men and women. Then Simon himself believed also. And when he was baptized, he continued with Philip and wondered, beholding the miracles and signs which were done. Brother, grab Acts 19, verse 8 through 20. If unless you want to make a point, you can before we go forward to this, because I know I've been digging in.
Nah, Khan, you got it, man. Definitely all praises to the Most High for the lesson.
Khan, the Water King, all praises.
Khan. This is the book of Acts, chapter 19, starting at verse 8. It says, and he went into the synagogue and spake boldly for the space of 3 months, disputing and persuading the things concerning the kingdom of God. But when the divers were hardened and believed not, but spake evil of that way before the multitude, he departed from them and separated the disciples, disputing daily in the school of one Tyrannus. Verse 10. And this continued by the space of 2 years, so that all they which dwelt in Asia heard the word of the Lord Yahushua, both Jews and Greeks. And God wrought special miracles by the hands of Paul, so that from his body were brought unto the sick handkerchiefs or aprons, and the diseases departed from them, and the evil spirits went out of them. Then certain of the vagabond Jews, exorcists, took upon them to call over them which had evil spirits in the name of the Lord Jesus, saying, we adjure you by Yahushua whom Paul preacheth. And there were 7 sons of one Sceva, a Jew, and a chief of the priests, which did so. And the evil spirit answered and said, Yahushua I know, and Paul I know, but who are ye? And the man in whom the evil spirit was leaped on them, and overcame them, and prevailed against them, so that they fled out of that house, naked and wounded. And this was known to all the Jews and Greeks also dwelling at Ephesus. And fear fell on them all, and the name of the Lord Yahushua was magnified. And many that believed came and confessed and showed their deeds. Many of them also which used curious arts brought their books together and burned them before all men. And they counted the price of them and found it 50,000 pieces of silver. So mightily grew the word of the Most High and prevailed.
Khan, all praises. It's a beautiful scripture that showed just how mighty they were with the Most High God, power on them. Looking at verse 13, it says, then certain of the vagabond Jews, exorcists, took upon them to call over them which had evil spirits, the name of the Lord, saying, we adjure you by Yahushua whom Paul preacheth. And brother, grab vagabond in the Greek.
God. And this is G4022. You want the usage and the definition as well?
Con.
Kind of says to go about, of strollers, of wanderers, of navigators making a circuit. And then definition, it says to come all around, i.e. stroll, vacillate, veer, fetch a compass, vagabond, wandering about.
So they were pretty much busybodies. They were people that, you know, just was doing whatever they wanted to do, walking around, looking to get into something. So it says that they took upon them to call over them which had evil spirits, the name of the Lord, Yahushua, saying, we adjure you by Yahushua, whom Paul preached. And there were 7 sons of one Sceva, a Jew, and chief of the priests, which did so. And the evil spirit answered and said, Yahushua I know, and Paul I know, but who are ye? So they didn't have any type of power, but they were trying to use the power that they saw Paul use. They wanted to speak in the name of the Lord to get the demons to come out. But the demons weren't familiar with them because they didn't have the spirit of the Most High God on them. But they were vagabond Jews, and they was watching what they were doing, wandering about, and they're like, oh man, let's try it. But they didn't have the power to do so. So it says, and the evil spirit answered and said, Jesus I know, Paul I know, but who are you? And the man in whom the evil spirit was leaped on them and overcame them and prevailed against them, so that they fled out of their house naked and wounded. And this was known to all the Jews and Greeks also dwelling at Ephesus, and fear fell on them all, and the name of Yahushua was magnified. And many that believed came and confessed and showed their deeds. Many of them also which used curious arts brought their books together and burned them before all men. Brother, grab curious arts in Greek.
God. This is word for curious arts. It says busy about, trifles, and neglectful of important matters, especially busy about other folks' affairs, a busybody of things, impertinent and superfluous of magic arts, and then more of the same, working all around, i.e. officious, meddlesome, neuter plural magic, busybody, curious arts.
Khan. So we see Khan, Sister Sierra Pack, she said sounds like fake deliverance ministry. Khan, that's exactly how they operate, in the same way. They're very convincing, you know, with their works, their arts that they use, the curious arts they use, this deception, but it's not really true power. It's just demonic power. So we see that the Most High God word was able to prevail in this situation, and it was able to be a witness unto the people that were around, able to witness it. So it was a mighty thing that was done. But we also see that all throughout this word, we see different things about witchcraft, and it's always frowned upon, and it's always it's adverse. It's always against the Most High God and keeping his commandments and after following him. So it's always going to be against. There's nothing that's good about it. I got one more scripture, Psalm 3, verses 1 through 8. Oh, you got kicked out for a second. He'll be right back, and I'll try to read it. If he ain't back oh, there you go. That doggone iPhone, man. Time to get an Android up.
So lucky I was on the wrong page and I hit back.
Yeah.
What was that Psalm?
3 verses 1 through 8.
Yes, lucky. This is a book. It says Psalm 3.
Verses 1 through 8.
This is a book of Psalm 3, starting at verse 1. It says, Yahweh, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Many are there by which save my soul. There is no help for him in God, Salah. But thou, O Yahweh, art a shield for me, my glory and the lifter up of mine head. I cried unto Yahweh with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill, Salah. I laid me down and slept. I awaked, for the Most High sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. Arise, O Yahweh, save me, O my God, for thou hast smitten all mine enemies upon the cheekbone. Thou hast broken the teeth of the ungodly. Salvation belongeth unto Yahweh. Thy blessing is upon thy people. Salah.
Con. So many different powers in this world. Nothing like the power of the Most High God. Our faith in the Most High God, our obedience to the Most High God is always going to protect us. Is always going to have us give us a leg up on anybody else. And that is what we've seen throughout these scriptures, where there was divination, there was someone practicing divination, then there was someone that was obedient to the Most High God, and they had faith in him to be able to work and use them. And it's the same with us. So we should be encouraged by this, and definitely our faith should be, stronger. So with that, I just want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, and we do so in the name of his Son, Bashem Yahushua. And if you got anything, you can bring it out.
Definitely beautiful lesson through the spirit of power of the Most High. I appreciate the brother going into the Feast of Simon at the commencing of the lesson, and then also going through, this particular topic as well, about, how practicing divination shows rebellion and a lack of faith. That's a very important topic, and something that's actually overlooked, and people they don't really think too much about it, but it's actually very important, and is really easy to maybe not for somebody that's a little bit fervent about them, or more fervent about the Most High, but for a lot of our people that are more lukewarm, it's easy to amalgamate yourselves into a lot of this stuff. Right. So it's very important that we're aware of these things, and we're able to point them out, and perhaps warn our people, and point these things out, and kind of show them that these things are wicked and sinful. So definitely a beautiful lesson. And I look forward to when this is able to reach YouTube, so I can send this out. And the brother, he's going into this topic before, but it's always good when these types of topics are touched on. So that's pretty much all I have.
The water king, the water, all praises. I guess we'll close it out unless anybody got anything in the chat that a question or anything like that. And I'll read the scripture that Brother Aaron posted earlier, 1 Corinthians 4:20. For the kingdom of God is not in word, but in power. All praises. All praises.
All praises.
And I see Sister Star said she got to learn how to use the app. I guess you're talking about the Blue Letter Bible app. Yeah, and it's definitely, I recommend everybody, if you won't have this app on your phone, you need it, because it's so many different words that, don't mean what you think they mean because you're reading English. And this, when they translate things, it takes the strength away from the actual word that it's been translated from. So, yeah, all praise to the Most High.
And I'm going into that Thursday also. Funny you say that.
All praises. That's the spirit. Praises.
Yeah, we can close it out with there's nothing else. We can close it out with Numbers 24 and 6 and 24 on down. It says, Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. And with that, I'll say Shalom.
Shalom, Shalom, family.
It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Yeah, many you call, but few get chosen. Matthew 22 and 14. My righteousness gonna exceed that of the Pharisees.